I have been the target of some angry attacks. I responded to them in an article called Enlightenment Wars, uh, Reflections on Enlightenment Now a year later.
Okay, and what was that about? What were these attacks?
Oh, there are a number of attacks from the hard left. The idea that capitalism has made people better off, which it clearly has. If you don't believe me, would you rather live in North Korea or South Korea? If you could go back in time, would you rather live in West Germany or East Germany? Or today, would you rather live in Venezuela or in Chile? So capitalism really works. It doesn't mean that it has to be capitalism without a social safety net or without regulation. And in fact, there's no such thing as capitalism without a social safety net or regulation. I show that in the book. 100% of developed capitalist countries have extensive social redistribution, including Britain and the United States. It's not just Scandinavia. Right. It turns out the difference between Scandinavia and, on the one hand, in the US and Britain on the other, are pretty small. I mean, there is a difference in the way you'd expect. Sweden and Norway really do have more extensive social welfare than the United States. But they're not that far apart. So, right. So the question is of whether we should have capitalism raw, untrammeled, unbridled, 100% free market. It's just not an issue. That does not exist. I mean, maybe you try it for the first time if you're a hardcore libertarian, but if you do, you're doing something that history has never seen. So anyway.
But talking about that inflames some people on the left.
It does.
Yeah. Even saying, you're a Harvard professor, you usually play into what they say, right?
Well, I live in a left-wing world, being in a university, and the culture of book reviewing, of journalism, definitely tilts left. So that's one thing that gets people mad. I also get flack from the kind of the Trumpian right, because I do believe that pretty much everything that authoritarian populism and Donald Trump stand for are the opposite of Enlightenment thinking, and I think can push back against a lot of this progress. So there's a lot of ire from them. Then on the left now, because in our culture, everything gets, at least in America, no matter what the problem is, the root cause is always racism. Now, America has become absolutely obsessed with racism. And so there are critics who say, well, didn't the Enlightenment gave rise to modern racism and slavery and colonial exploitation? I think it's total nonsense. It's the exact opposite. It was during the Enlightenment that you had the first movement to abolish slavery and to push back against imperialism for the first time in history. But nonetheless, there is a left-wing retrospective critique of Enlightenment because of this, I think, anachronistic attribution. So no, I do attract enemies. I try to be as reasonable as I can be, but it certainly doesn't work on everyone.